Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Francesa podcast. We come to you this evening along the Bet Rivers Network after another giant loss. Hey, what else is new? This time to the Kansas City Chiefs, 22-9. Yes, the Giants knocked on the door, but it wasn't good enough late to get that backdoor cover, and you even got a little help that after that last touchdown, when Hunt committed a selfish and stupid 15-yard penalty, and if I were coaching, my fines for those things would be outrageous because you cost me points. I'm not putting up with it. But they missed the extra point, gave the Giants a chance to come down and get the backdoor cover. They couldn't do it. It sure looked like they were going to the first time. Um, the bottom line is this, okay? To the surprise of nobody, since the day the schedule came out, and I read the schedule off to you and told you that they were facing the most brutal schedule that a bad team has ever faced that I can remember. Now they're 3 games into that schedule, and they're 0-3. The Chargers, who are unbeaten and have a very good defense, are coming in for game 4. That will be 0-4. They then play the Saints, who are a terrible team. The same level. The Giants might even be a little more talented than the Saints are right now. They're a little further along in their renewal than the Saints are. And then if he gives in to the horde that wants Dart now, that is ever growing, and I'll get to that in a minute because the Giants are to blame for a lot of it. Um, if you put the kid in the Saint game at 0-4, and you try to get him a win there, which he might get, because the Giant pass rush might dominate that game. He has to turn around, play the Eagles on Thursday night with one practice. You'll never get him ready for that game. Then he has to go to Denver. You will never get him ready for that atmosphere. And then he's got to come back and play the Eagles again. So the question you have as a coaching staff, as you continue to play 2 games here, okay? The Giants are playing, they're running two themes at the same time. Here's our Russell Wilson, we're trying to win game schedule, of which we're already 0-3, and the coach is telling you, oh, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. None of it's good enough. Coaching isn't good enough. None of it's good enough. Hey, we're sick of hearing it. You've lost 9 of 10 home games. You've lost 17 of 20 games. The last 20 games you played, lost 17 of them. That's hard to do in the NFL. But if you do that, when do you put Dart in, and how do you protect him against that? And it's not just Eagles short week, Denver road, Eagles road. It's then Niners, Chicago. All right, they'll score. Giants will even score some points, but Chicago might score more. But then it's the Packers. Then it's a trip to Detroit. The last 5 games of the season are built for Dart to start. He's definitely going to start those games. Pats, Washington, Vikes, Raiders, Cowboys. Okay, he's going to start those games. He'll probably start before that because the propaganda machine is already at work. You see, the Giants are playing 2 games here. They're running two games at once. Here's our Russell Wilson stuff. We brought Russell Wilson in to try and win games, to give this give this coach a chance, give this regime a chance. We gave him $10 million to come here and play, blah, 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 blah. He can, fit neighbors. He can do this. He can do that. And then when he has nights like this, where Kansas City comes in with a great coaching staff, with a legendary head coach, with a great defensive coordinator, and says, hey, you're not throwing a deep ball. Okay, Dallas just gave you the worst pass defense in the history of mankind. That's why you put up those prolific numbers. You're not putting up any of that. We're not going to cut that number in half. We're going to cut it by 90%. And that's why Daboll is being disingenuous when he gets up there and says, well, we ran the ball better. Well, how couldn't you run the ball better when their safeties are playing in Piscataway? Obviously. They're taking away the deep ball. You're going to be able to run the ball. If you can't, you might as well go home, which you probably should do anyway. Yes, they were going to run the ball better. And remember, I like Skattebo. Okay, Skattebo. I expect this kind of performance from Skattebo, and Skattebo was terrific tonight. If he's going to average 6 yards every time he touches the ball on a handoff, or 10 yards every time he catches the ball out of the backfield, he's going to be in the Pro Bowl. He had 120 yards tonight and a touchdown. He does. He gets 120 yards from scrimmage every night. He's going to be a rookie of the year or close to it. I mean, that's a terrific evening. Throwing a touchdown. I mean, he had a really nice night. Now he runs hard. Everything I saw from Skattebo, I expected. He should be the guy. You need more than one back in this league, but he should be the guy. That's fine. Giants have some good young players, but they are a awful franchise, and I don't want to hear how they're improved. Okay, did they have a good draft this year? It looks like it, but here's what they're doing: they're apologizing for losing on one hand, and the losing has gotten sickening. Okay, you look out. And every night you look into their building where they've lost 9 out of 10. Well, it's not even a home field anymore because basically the other team, when they play a good team that has a following, they're half the building. The Cowboys are 75% of the building. The Steelers are 60% of the building. If the Packers are in that year, they're 60% of the building. And the Chiefs are 40% of the building. Whatever they were tonight. Looked like a lot of red to me. I didn't go count, but it looked like a lot of red. Now, that makes it tough at home where they've lost 9 of their last 10, but they can't win anywhere. They've lost 17 of their last 20, whether they were playing on the moon. But here's what they're doing. They're whispering to everybody who will listen, to every announcer who comes in, to every broadcaster and ex-player who comes in. Hey, this Dart's the real thing. Hey, wait until you see Dart. Wait until you. So basically, it's the game that I told you they would play all year. It's called 2 bites at the apple. The first bite at the apple is over. They're already 0-3. They're going nowhere with Russell Wilson. The only question now is how long do they play this game, which is so unfair to Russell Wilson. Now, Russell Wilson is bouncing around all over trying to find a home. We know that. He's had a good NFL career. He's reached the mountaintop. He's had plenty of glory. He's not the same player. We know that. Forget last week. That was the worst defense you'll ever see. You'll ever see. That game's a throwout. It's an aberration. They will not come anywhere near those numbers again this year. How do you know that? Well, tonight, against a good defense and a terrific defensive coordinator and a good defense and a smart coaching staff, they couldn't get the ball to any of their wide receivers all night, which makes no sense. Let them take your big guy away. Make them use 2 players to do that and then beat them on the other side of the field with a tiered approach. The Giants weren't getting the ball to their wide receivers deep, obviously. They weren't getting the ball to their wide receivers on the run, on crossing patterns, on shallow crosses, on anything. Slants, shallow crosses, anything, nothing underneath, nothing on the opposite side of the field from neighbors. Please, that should have been there. Yes, they could run the ball. Why? Because the safeties are down the field. And they're not coming up to play because they don't want to give up the big play. They know what the Giants are going to try to do with Wilson. They're going to try and throw the ball over their head. They're not letting the ball go over their head. And when he tried to force the issue, which he will because he's incredibly impatient, because he wants to throw the ball down the field, and that's what he lives for, he threw interceptions. And then they hit a play where Wandell made a gutty catch of a well-thrown ball, but a tough catch because he had to give up his body to make the catch. They have a 1st and goal at the 4-yard line, and then they look like they didn't even know what they were gonna do. Listen, if you are trying to get to the line of scrimmage and you don't wanna use a timeout there, run the ball on 1st down. Don't get a grounding penalty on 1st down. 4 times, never ran the ball. Never threw the ball where it was even catchable. And ran it once with Wilson on a design run. Those 4 plays could get you fired. That's how bad they were. Go look at the 4 plays from the 4-yard line, 1st and goal, with 3 minutes and change left in the game. That's as bad as you will ever see in the National Football League. In terms of design, execution, thought process, anything you want to touch on, it is that bad. Kansas City came in with a lot of problems, and they played terribly in the first half offensively. This team doesn't play badly defensively. Didn't play badly defensively the first 2 weeks of the season. Played defensively well enough to win the Eagle game, just didn't play well offensively. Yes, they're missing Worthy. Yes, they're missing Rice. They're missing their deep threats, and they're trying now to incorporate Thornton, which they did tonight. And you saw them come out in the second half, made the adjustments they had to make, and looked like a semblance of who they were. Plus, they have Mahomes, who can make plays with his legs, make plays with his arms, keep plays alive. Carter thought he had him, and then he found out, wow, this guy is a little different than chasing college quarterbacks. I thought I had him. I didn't have him. And what happens? He makes a throw that produces points. The Chiefs were 8 of 15 on 3rd down. The Giants were 1 of 10. Execution. Game plan, adjustments, execution. Yes, they have an all-world coach. Yes, they have an all-world quarterback, and that's why they're better. The coaching staff is night and day. And that's the difference. Chiefs have holes right now. They'll try to piece this together as they go along, but they have holes. They're not even as good on defense as they were. If they came in and said, hey, you think Nabors going to do to us what he did to Dallas? It's not happening. He's not going to touch the ball. 2 catches for 13 yards. But the other wide receivers did nothing. That should not have happened. In the NFL, they can a good defense and a small team can take away your number 1 option. We've watched good teams do it forever. That's when you have your number 2 and number 3 receivers step to the fore and produce. That's why they're there. There were times they took Michael Irvin away. There was Alvin Harper's time to go. And I can give you 9,000 different, from John Taylor to Rice all the way down the line. Hey, that's what football's about. Action, reaction, adjustment, execution. This coach comes to the podium and tells you, not good enough, not good enough. How long does he get to come to the podium and tell you it's not good enough? 17 of 20, 9 of 10 at home. And now he's selling out his own veteran quarterback by whispering to everybody else. You heard Collinsworth tonight. Hey, everyone in that building's buzzing. We got something special. We got something special. How does that work? You don't think the fans hear that? So Russell Wilson in his home building has to come out to booze every series because they all want the Wonder Boy, who you've built up to be the Wonder Boy based on preseason and based on the fact that he's the only thing standing between you and the unemployment line. You think he's gonna come in and turn this franchise around and start winning games? Not gonna happen. They're not gonna win any more games when he plays, even if he plays okay, which is not gonna happen on a daily basis. He's gonna see things he's never seen before. He's gonna make bad throws. How did Cam Ward open the game up today with a pick six? How did Browning play in Minnesota today? There's a reason why those quarterbacks get paid all that money. When they're not there, you see why. And that's why Mahomes keeps putting W's up and championships up and Super Bowl trips in the resume because he's great at what he does. And there, hey, we got an offense to build here. We got a team to build here. We're going to go at it. We're going to try and win games. But let me tell you, this other guy, oh, this week he played the scout team. He played Mahomes. He was like Mahomes. He is Mahomes. Oh, yeah, he's so great. Oh, no, I don't know why they're booing Russell Wilson. Best thing you could do for Wilson is figure out in the next couple of weeks to send him to some poor team that needs a quarterback and can hope that a veteran quarterback can help them. Because all that's coming here is an unhappy ending. You gave him $10 million. That quarterback room has made no sense from day one. If you were going to draft Dart or draft a quarterback, and I know the Giants tried to move heaven and earth to get Cam Ward, and they liked the kid out of Louisville, and then they decided they liked Dart better. Okay, it's all fine. They have every right to be high on Dart, and they might be right about Dart. I have no idea yet. I haven't seen Dart play in the NFL. Until I see him play with him, who knows what he's gonna do? It's a fine line. What's in his head, what's in his heart, how fast he can get better, and how mentally tough he is to handle things. That's what makes the great quarterback. And Dart might have those qualities, but if you think he's gonna step in and win, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Not gonna wave a magic wand. So the fans are gonna yell for it because it's the only thing they have to root for. There's no reason to root for another terrible season and root for Russell Wilson. And that's why you had chance in the second quarter after he threw the pick on the neighbor's play. They were yelling, "We want Dart." And then you tease the fans by putting Dart in to run your option plays. And one of them, supposedly, according to the coach in the postgame, was a pass play. Well, once he starts uncorking passes, they are never gonna want him out. If he completes one, they are never gonna want him out of the game. You're gonna have destroyed any chance Russell Wilson has with this group. And already, let's be honest, they're 0-3. They're headed to 0-4. They're headed to 1-6 or 7 when you look at the schedule. Even if they beat, I'm giving them a win against the Saints, and they're heading to 1-6 or 7. Now, if you're trying to find some light at the end of the tunnel, do they have some young players here that show some promise? Yes. Is Carter gonna be a good player? Well, he has talent. I gotta wait, I was never buying into the LT stuff, okay? But let's and they're asking him to play out of position too, so that's not fair. But let's just wait. But he has ability. I need to see more from the tight end, but they say he has ability. Skattebo, I love. Okay. Neighbors that we know has got a lot of ability. They have upgraded some players. They still need work in certain areas, especially on the offensive line, where they need health and they need better play, which we know. Could they have made a couple of plays tonight? Hey, the Mahomes play where he took the ball away from Okereke, that could have been a break for the Giants, and it should have been their ball. Fall on the ball. Fall on the ball if you're a defensive player. That's all you gotta do, fall on the ball. Don't try to pick it up. Fall on the ball. Get the ball. Don't try and score. See, they're always trying to score. Get the ball. Mahomes goes in. A lot of quarterbacks wouldn't even have chased that ball down. Even knowing it was a backward pass, they would be like, "Ah, it's gone." He went and fought for the ball. That's who he is. That's why he's who he is. He's a great competitor. He's a great player. They know how to win, and the Giants know how to lose, and both are habitual. But don't think for a second that the Giants don't have culpability in building up this machine for Dot. It's not just the fans doing it on their own. This is all being done because this is the last bite of the apple. This regime is gone. Now, the question is, what does ownership need to see from Dot that makes them think that, gee, I don't want to change the regime underneath him. I don't want to change the voice in his ear. I don't want to change his head coach and change the system again around him. I just want him to kind of learn. He's just starting to learn this. That's all Daboll's got left. Otherwise, he's out the door. He's out the door. Let's be honest. Look at it. You can't lose this much and not be out the door. It doesn't get better. Please explain to me those 4 plays down on the goal line. Explain what the heck the idea was down there on those plays. And he's shaking his head when it's not working. Does that mean it's on Russell Wilson? I don't think so. I understand Russell Wilson's trying to score a touchdown every time he's got the ball. I don't know where he was throwing the ball because those balls, no one even had a chance to catch those balls, and they never tried to throw the ball underneath once, nor did they try to run the ball except with a design run from the quarterback. Skattebo never touched the ball on those 4 downs. Now, I understand all they were going to get at that was probably a backdoor cover because the Chiefs would have run the clock out. I understand that. But it would have been a step in the right direction. The Giants stink. When it comes to winning football games, they are as bad as you can possibly be. Are they more talented than last year? Yes. Do they have better young players? Yes. Are they better team? No. Don't keep losing every game and tell me you're better. You're not. Same thing with the Jets. Don't tell me you're better when you don't know how to close a game out, when you don't know how to turn a loss into a win, and you don't know how to execute the sport. Until you can do that, don't claim you're better because that's what you have to do to be better. You have to win sometimes, and you have to prove you can execute. Today, that meant the Jets needed to make a play and get off the field with a lead. They couldn't do that. They couldn't come close. Still, they wanted to say about how hard they fought. Give me a break. Baker Mayfield knew he could take the Jets anytime he wanted, and he did. And then he said after the game, it was personal for me. The bottom line is the idea is to win the game. The rest is conversation. When you can't win the game, when you're a coach and your team continues to lose year in, year out, game in, game out, you need to find something else to do. Now, he gets one more bite at the apple because he has Dart. and he's helped spread that propaganda that is ringing in the ears. That tonight the NBC crew made sure they told everybody, folks, you walk in the giant building, and all you hear is this buzz about how great Dart is. Oh, they're setting the kid up for some kind of fall. But he's all they have left. If they don't have that, they're gone. They're already 0-3, heading to 0-4, heading to 1 and if I give you 1, and I don't even know if they get that one, 1-4, 1-5, 1-6, 1-7, 1-8 at best. Not good enough. Not when you've been losing and losing and losing. The idea is to win some games. And if you can't do that, I don't want to hear the rest because that's all that matters. That's all that matters. It can be done. There are other teams that coaches have walked in and turned the franchises around. It's not like it never happens. But when you're banking on putting in a rookie quarterback to cure your ills, you're nowhere. And most of the time, all you're doing is setting it up for the next coach because you're pretty much out of any ammunition. And all Daboll does now is every day comes to the podium and says, not good enough. Not good enough. If the coaching's not good enough, that's not good enough. This is not good enough. We did this better, but we didn't do this better. We're not good enough. Not good enough. Not good enough. And eventually they're going to say to him, not good enough. Matter of fact, they probably already should have. We'll see you later.